Bill Maher and Elizabeth Warren spoke on his show about why the Democrats keep getting their asses handed to them in elections. Let's check it out.
I mean, I've seen Republican tax plans like this, but not quite as brazen, because this one doesn't even pretend. It's just about, wouldn't it be great if rich people didn't pay taxes?
Right.
But he's going to go to a rally in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania tomorrow and tell his fans all about this, about how his kids are not going to have to pay taxes because they got rid of the estate tax. Yeah. And they're still with him. They're not with you. Explain to me what that disconnection is.
Actually, I'm going to push back. I disagree with you. When you talk...
Well, his fans are not with you.
Hold on.
Come on.
When we talk...
They don't like you, Pocahontas.
When you talk about what's really the basic pieces of a progressive agenda, raise the minimum wage, expand Social Security, reduce the cost of college so people don't get crushed by student loan debt, more, not less regulation of financial institutions. Right. No, hold on a second. Progressive taxation, make those at the top pay their fair share. America, Democrats, Republicans, independents, libertarians, vegetarians, Americans, by about 2 to 1, are with us on that. The progressive agenda is America's agenda. We cannot forget that. And we cannot.
But this is the disconnect I'm talking about. I agree with you. They're with you on the issues, and then they vote for him.
Well, then
what is that problem? And now, you know, I'm not a politician. I don't have to be nice. I say people are stupid all the time. So let's not say that today, because you are a politician. But don't they bear some burden for not the people, for not looking into this a little more closely and seeing who is really on their side? I mean, Donald Trump ran as a populist, and now he presents his tax plan. 2 Goldman Sachs guys get up there. Thank God we didn't elect Hillary with her Wall Street connection.
Yeah, exactly.
And present this plan on one page that basically is, you know, let's give all the money to the rich people because they always do what's right with it. You know, thank God for the rich people, because they take that money, they put it back, it trickles down on you, you lucky bastards. We've seen this before. The voters have seen it before. His voters are not young. They lived through it. How come they fall for the con?
So, look, I think that Donald Trump tapped into a real anger in America. People are angry, and let's face it, they are right to be angry. They are angry over the fact that young people can't get an education without getting crushed by student loan debt. They are angry.
But it's misplaced if they vote for him and not you.
So
this is, how do we solve that problem?
So
we all agree the anger is justified.
Okay.
But
let's do it. The first step is our side has to acknowledge the anger.
In this back and forth, I think Elizabeth Warren is 100% correct and Bill Maher is wrong. Because Bill wants to just dismiss the fact that the American people don't overwhelmingly vote for Democrats and certainly didn't in the last election. He wants to just dismiss that by saying, well, people are stupid and they don't know what's best for them and they don't know who's really looking out for them. But here's the problem with that analysis, Bill. This Democratic Party, this corporate Democratic Party, is not looking out for them. That's the point. Now, you can make the point, well, hey, they're looking out for them a little bit better than the Republican Party's looking out for them. And on that point, I agree with you. And on that point, it's true. But people are tired of picking from the lesser of two evils, man. And with Trump, he gave them, his rhetoric on the campaign trail was way more populist. I mean, he said, we're not going to outsource any more jobs. We're going to keep the jobs here in the U.S. I'm going to punish the companies if they ship the jobs overseas. So I'm going to look out for unions. He put Glass-Steagall in the RNC platform. He argued for, he argued against TPP way more aggressively than Hillary did. He said he's going to do I'm going to do an infrastructure deal. I'm going to stop doing these wars and rebuild the country here. So on some issues, Trump, his rhetoric on the campaign trail was way more populist and to the left of Hillary Clinton. So for you to make the analysis like, well, the people are stupid. They don't know what's good for them. But then how do you account for the fact that on some issues, Donald Trump sounded more progressive, and on those issues, his anti-establishment rhetoric was more progressive, so people are going for what they thought was the more progressive choice. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some of Trump's supporters who I would call, yes, the deplorables, who, whether they're, they harbor sympathies for the KKK or neo-Nazis, they exist, we all know they exist, we know the Richard Spencers, the David Dukes, so on and so forth. But that's not that many. There's so many people who voted for Trump, they overlooked the bigotry and the xenophobia, and they said, I think he's going to keep my job here, so I'm going to go for him for that reason. So he keeps making the point like, yeah, but they didn't vote for you. They didn't vote for you. Elizabeth Warren wasn't running, Bill. It was Hillary Clinton. So Donald Trump right now has a 35% approval rating. The idea that he's like Teflon Don and, oh my God, there's such a disconnect and his voters will support him no matter what. Some of them, yes, but maybe that core support that will never go away is about 25%. Right now, he's at 35%. That's already really low. It's historically low for any president at this point in time. So people are leaving him. They're leaving him in droves. And again, I reckon that'll probably bottom out at about 25%. So yeah, the core 25% support, that'll never go away. But that's not enough to win an election. Certainly not enough to win re-election. And the problem is the corporate Democrats, people like Hillary Clinton, people like Cory Booker and Joe Manchin, they don't present a vision, Bill. They don't have a vision. So with Hillary, what was the number? There was a study on this. I think it was like 25% of her ads were focused on policy. And you're berating people for not voting for her because, oh, she'd obviously be better. Her whole fucking campaign was, man, that other guy's really bad, isn't he? God, he's like so bad. Can you believe the things he says? He's like so bad. He curses and stuff. Can you believe he curses? Oh my God, cursing. That's so impolite. That's not something that really respectable people should do. So yeah, he's real bad. He's real bad. I guess I'm good because he's bad. And oh yeah, by the way, stronger together, break down the barriers, cliche over here, platitude over here. But people are sick of that shit because you're not saying anything. There's no there. There's no substance there. So she covers substance 25% of the time. What the fuck do you expect to happen, man? She's a genuinely, boring candidate. She doesn't get people excited. She's robotic. She's super political and overly calculating, and she never discusses policy. So what do you expect, man? Like, what do you expect? Seriously. One guy sounded way more populist, talked about infrastructure all the time. I'm not going to cut Social Security. I'm not going to cut Medicare. I'm going to stop the wars. He said that half the time. To be fair, the other half the time, he said, I'm going to bomb the shit out of ISIS. So people went with who they thought was the more anti-establishment candidate. Look, that's the thing, man. I think that's the key. The key is you go back and you look through modern elections, probably from Clinton and onward. People are just picking who they feel like is the most anti-establishment candidate every time. That seems to be the one thing that's steady is that, okay, who despises the elites more? That's the feel. So you have Hillary Clinton who basically flies the fucking flag. She said America is already great when Trump said make America great again. That's an elitist message. That's an establishment message. That's a corporatist message. The status quo is wonderful. Business as usual. Vote for me. People hate that, Bill. So, look, in my mind, if I had to rank the candidates on election day, of course, so when Bernie's out of it and you have to go, Jill Stein, Gary Johnson, yada, yada. I would have went Jill Stein, Hillary Clinton, Gary Johnson, Donald Trump in terms of the order. So I'm saying, in my mind, was she a lesser evil? Yes. But the lesser evil argument is not something that resonates with people because they're tired of picking from the lesser of two evils. They want something to vote for, not something to vote against. So here's the main point that Elizabeth Warren is making, and she's 100% right. Her point is, if we have a Democratic Party that is unapologetic in their stance on progressive policy positions, they will win. We will win overwhelmingly. So if you have a Democratic Party that says, hey, we're for Medicare for all, and we're not negotiating on that. Hey, we're for making the minimum wage a living wage and tying it to inflation. You're not going to lose if you bring that up. Hey, we're for getting out of these wars. Not going to lose if you bring that up. Hey, we're for a New Deal, and we got to do something to address climate change, do a green technology revolution as part of the New Deal. We got to end the drug war. You go down the list. She said it, quote, the progressive agenda is America's agenda. Bill, the progressive agenda wasn't on the table in the last election. It was Goldman Sachs versus Goldman Sachs. So when you give people the option of, hey, progressive agenda versus reality TV star buffoon, who now it's been proven he sold out to Goldman Sachs and to the establishment, to the neocons, who are they going to pick? They're going to pick the progressive values because, quote, the progressive agenda is America's agenda. Elizabeth Warren's words, not my words, and she's 100% right. All the polls bear that out. So that's the point, Bill. If the Democrats actually ran candidates who were unapologetically progressive, they said, we don't take corporate money, we don't take PAC money. We're done with all that. So we're not corrupt, we're not sellouts. We raise money from the people, working people, we represent the people. Here's our progressive agenda. And you hammer away on the policy and you don't do the platitudes, you don't do the cliches, you don't try to pull the wool over people's eyes and be corrupt, then you win. That's how you win. Elizabeth Warren is 100% right. And Bill Maher's just wrong when he thinks like, oh, the American people are stupid. That's why they picked Trump. Or you could actually do a real analysis and get to the core of it and try to figure out how could it possibly be that this reality star buffoon beat this political juggernaut? It's because of the anti-establishment fervor in the country and because people know they've been getting screwed for so long, so they'd rather roll the dice on a maniac than have the guaranteed same path under Hillary Clinton. Now, they were wrong in rolling that dice because I think he was the worst of all the candidates and he ends up being totally pro-establishment. But that's the analysis that makes sense when you look at the election, not, hey, the American people are stupid and all they got to do is vote for Democrats. That's not enough to just vote for Democrats because corporate Democrats are also the problem. You have to vote for Justice Democrats. That's, our movement in order to try to take back the Democratic Party for the Bernie wing, have them represent what they were supposed to represent all along. Go to justicedemocrats.com and sign your name in support of the movement and get involved because we're running real people. So I think Elizabeth Warren's 100% right. When you actually have true liberalism, true progressivism, unapologetic on the table, no corporate money, no PAC money, no corruption versus anybody on the right will fucking clean their clocks day in and day out. If Elizabeth Warren runs against Trump in 2020, which she might because she's releasing a book, that's usually a sign that they want to run, well, I think she would wipe the floor with him.